In the headlines, former speaker says exploitation of the poor, recipe for disaster. Northwestern states take decisive measures to end banditry. Federal government will sanction Nigerians who refuse Covid-19 vaccine. And in sports, millions of dollars spent as European transfer deadline ends. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Dashan Hussaina Usman. Connect with us on our social media platforms for more news. Now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari has relieved 2 ministers of their appointments in a minor cabinet change. They are the Ministers of Agriculture, Muhammad Sabo Nanono, and his power counterpart, Saleh Mamman. Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, briefed State House correspondents on this.
Ministers leaving the cabinet. 1. Muhammad Sabo Nanono, Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development. And 2. Engineer Saleh Mamman, Minister of Power. Redeployment. 1. Dr. Muhammad Mahmoud Abubakar, Minister of Environment, to assume office as the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development. 2. Engineer Abubakar D. Aliyu, Minister of State, Works and Housing, assumes office as the Minister of Power. In due course, substantive nominations will be made to fill the consequential vacancies in accordance with the requirements of the Constitution. I have personally met with the departing members to thank them for their contributions to discussions in Cabinet and the invaluable services rendered to the nation. Today effectively marks their last participation in the Federal Executive Council deliberations.
President Muhammadu Buhari Wednesday inaugurated the board of Nigeria's Sovereign Investment Authority. The president also presided over the weekly virtual meeting of the Federal Executive Council at the State House, Abuja.
It is my pleasure to perform the formal inauguration of the third board of the Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority today. Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority is one of Nigeria's premier economic institutions. I acknowledge the commitment, dedication, and contributions of the last board of directors whose tenure ended May 2021. This distinguished group of patriotic Nigerians heeded the call to serve and deployed the best of their abilities to oversee the affairs of the authority on behalf of the nation over the last 4 years. Notably, they guided the organization through a critical stage of existence and have left it standing as a credible world-class institution that turns out consistently good results. As we bid them farewell and open a new chapter, I want them to know that Nigeria owes them a debt of gratitude.
President Muhammadu Buhari has commended the outgoing ambassador of Tunisia to Nigeria, Dalil Trabelsi, for the deep love he has shown the country throughout his 10-year service at contrasting times. Trabelsi first served in the past for 5 years as an officer, then came back to serve as ambassador for another 5 years, and now describes himself as a lover of Nigeria and her people. The president gave the commendation in a statement by his spokesperson, Femi Adesina, in Abuja. Trabelsi said he insisted on waiting till he had an audience with the president before leaving so he could personally express gratitude to a man he admired and to a people he loved. Bandits on Wednesday stormed Government Day Secondary School Kaya in Maradun local government area and kidnapped over 100 students alongside some of their teachers during school hours. It is reported that the bandits stormed the school premises around 11 a.m. began shooting indiscriminately in the air and kidnapped an unspecified number of students and their teachers on the spot. It is also gathered that the attack occurred during a prayer session on the current insecurity challenges as a result of resurgence of banditry in the state held at the Emir of Gusaul's palace Wednesday, which was attended by the Zamfara state governor. The public relations officer, SP Muhammad Shehu of the State Police Command, said they would investigate over the issue. More on this in our subsequent bulletin. Killing of Captain Abdul Karim Bala na Allah has given sympathizers an opportunity to suggest ways of addressing worsening insecurity in the country. Mourners continue to visit Senator Bala na Allah at his Kaduna residence to condole with the family. The report.
Captain Allah was killed on Sunday morning in his Malali residence. Senator Obasani, representing Kaduna Central Zone in the state, is among early callers of the residence.
The incident that happened for me is very unfortunate. It's very shattering. The father is not only a friend or a colleague. I regard him as an elder brother. And what happened to his son is really a very painful situation. Of course, he was murdered in his own house. It's something that all of us are really worried about what happened, because that clearly shows the level of insecurity in our own country.
Father of the deceased, Senator Bala na Allah, believes killing of Nigerians should not go uninvestigated.
I have consistently talked about insecurity in this country, but I think I will go a bit further now to tell you where the problem is. This insecurity issue didn't come just in a day, and it's good we understand it, because if we don't understand it, we will continue to prescribe the medicine that will not cure it. And the prescription, which is dangerous to me, which I have seen so far, is for politicians to attempt to politicize the issue of security. Security is much more than that. Our issue has been evolutionary. Evolutionary in the sense that for quite a long time, we took so many things for granted and unwittingly created the situation that we are in today.
We pray that these kind of incidences do not occur again, because it's becoming very worrisome. The thing is, we don't even know what happened next.
Until his death, Abdul Karim na Allah was a trained pilot.
United Nations Children's Fund on Tuesday said that acute malnutrition is the biggest threat to child survival and development due to insecurity and displacement in the northeast region. UNICEF's nutrition manager at its Maiduguri field office, Dr. Sangeeta Jacob Dugal, raised the alarm on Tuesday at a 3-day media dialogue on child malnutrition reporting organized by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture in collaboration with UNICEF in Maiduguri. She also warned that malnutrition is currently the biggest threat to child survival and development in Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe, the 3 states worst hit by Boko Haram insurgency. She further noted that poor feeding environment, hygiene, and health services has been identified as the underlying causes of undernutrition in children. House of Representatives say it is committed to reform port operations to make it competitive, efficient, and businesses friendly. Chairman, House Committee on Custom and Excise Honorable Leke Abejude said this at an organized interactive session with relevant agencies under the committee in Abuja. The report.
The chairman, House Committee on Customs and Excise, says the committee is determined to improve the operations of the ports by making it more competitive, efficient, and business-friendly. He says the decision by the committee to invite all the stakeholders in the sector is to enable all the major actors identify their challenges with the hope of finding a solution to them in order to improve their operating capacity and revenue generation for the country.
It has nothing to do going to another bonded terminal before going to either ICD Kano or Dry Port Kaduna. In fact, the land process is responsible for the congestion at the port, because containers that ought to have been evacuated will not leave, while vessel upon vessels will keep on coming to populate already congested terminal. And we cannot blame them, but blame our bureaucratic procedures.
Stakeholders expressed their cumbersome processes and challenges they face in their dealings with the government agencies like the Shippers Council and the Customs. They identify multiple desks for payment and clearance, which they say prolong the process, thereby impacting negatively on the economy.
Rescheduling of vessels without prior notice and transfer of transit manifesto of dock terminals and private bonded terminals. Sometimes there will be a change in policy by customs. What we see is just somebody telling us when we get to custom office that we want to do this. No, we have a new circular telling us that you should go and do this or do that. Whereas when that decision is being taken, they didn't call the stakeholder to have their inputs. So sometimes before we adjust, it takes time and cause delay.
The major agencies, however, offered explanations to concerns raised.
The automation systems that were put in place, particularly the e-customs, and I'm hoping that because the customs are here, they are able to speak to it. Once we have that platform in place and all stakeholders can plug into it, Mr. Chairman, believe me, your interactive session today would have had a fundamental, an important input into how do we solve some of the cumbersome processes that we have in the ports.
We are all implementers. It comes from the government and we implement. And then for procedures, we always give information according to Article 2 of the Facilitation Agreement. We give information. That is why every Monday, Nigeria Customs Service is airing its numerous activities.
The hearing continues tomorrow as more stakeholders are expected to appear before the committee.
You're watching Trust TV News Update. Coming up after the break, rising price of gas surprises consumers. Do stay.
Get latest updates on current topical issues and breaking news by downloading the Trust TV mobile app on your Android devices. Go online, click Google Play Store, search Trust TV, install the app, and get doses of unfiltered information on happenings all over the world in your pocket. Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
My name is Samuel Dada. Yakubu Isa, ana mana kabi da jeji. Aminu Musa. A wannan harkar ce muke dan samun abinci, an muke taimaka mu wasu da yawa.
Looking for private jobs, sometimes you get employed and the process of payment, you undergo some kind of stress.
Welcome back. You're still watching Trust TV News Update. Here's a recap of our major stories. Ministers of Agriculture and Power dropped from cabinet in minor reshufflement. And bandits on Wednesday abduct students and teachers of Government Day Secondary School Kaya in Maradun local government area of Zamfara State. Still in the news, federal government says it may sanction eligible Nigerians who refuse to take the coronavirus vaccination. This was made known by the Executive Director of National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Faisal Shaib, at a news briefing in Abuja Tuesday. Shaib said the government may apply the basic rule of law against such people because their actions will be endangering the lives of other people. According to him, the Presidential Steering Committee and the Federal Ministry of Health is mapping out ways of making vaccines more available to all Nigerians. Still on health, Nigeria recorded 626 new cases of COVID-19 with 14 casualties on Tuesday, August 31, according to the Nigeria Center for Disease Control. The Public Health Agency, in its official website Wednesday morning, said the surge in infections is driven by the third wave of the pandemic. The agency had announced 460 new infections on Monday, August 30. It gave the total number of deaths from pandemic as 2,469, with the total haul of active cases rising from 10,858 reported on Monday to 11,203 on Tuesday. It also added that the fresh infections were reported from 9 states and the FCT, with Lagos State recording 334, followed by Rivers with 134 cases. Director General of Nigeria's Center for Disease Control, Chikwe Ihekweazu, has been appointed Assistant Director General of Health Emergency Intelligence at the World Health Organization. Ihekweazu's appointment, which comes into effect November 1, 2021, is disclosed in a letter signed by the World Health Organization Director General, Tedros Ghebreyesus. He will lead the work on strengthening pandemic and epidemic intelligence globally, including heading the WHO Hub for Pandemic and Epidemic Intelligence in Berlin. Dr. Ihekweazu is currently the Director General of Nigeria's Center for Disease Control. He has led short-term engagements for WHO in response to major infectious disease outbreaks around the world. Price of cooking gas has increased many folds within the second quarter of 2021. Minister of State for Petroleum, Timiprie Silva, recently announced that Nigeria has discovered 206 trillion cubic feet of gas reserves, prompting many consumers to wonder why gas price keeps rising. Trust TV's Mardia Umar speaks to a cross-section of Nigerians on this.
It is now over 8 months into the decade of gas development for Nigeria, which, as declared by the government, falls between January 1st to December 31st, 2030. The journey is just beginning. Some Nigerians who have been using cooking gas are now thinking of an alternative. The reason is the recent hike in prices of cooking gas. As against 3,400 Naira to 3,800 Naira for 12 kg cylinder in March, cooking gas now costs between 6,000 Naira to 7,000 Naira for 12 kg. How is this affecting Nigerians? Some consumers of cooking gas speaks about the hike in price.
You know that, okay, you don't want to, you know a particular amount of time you want the gas to last. But now with this whole thing now, you now have to minimize the way you use it.
Then I think we normally buy 3.5. Then this 12.5 kg. But now I came with, let's say 4,000 Naira. But I had to double 1,300 Naira. That's 5,300 Naira. I don't know why. Everything in Nigeria is getting higher almost every day. When you go to the market today, if you're buying rice for 1,000, tomorrow you end up buying it for maybe 1,100 or 1,200. I don't understand.
They said we should go for the one that is easier. Okay, gas, if you go for firewood, that is what government is already discouraging. So which which alternative? Is it light that we don't have? Can you use light to cook in this country today? You can't. You can't guarantee that you own your electric cooker and you will cook. So the only alternative and easiest for us to go green now is gas. And here it is, the gas is no longer affordable.
In a telephone conversation, the executive secretary of the Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers in Nigeria speaks about the development.
Much more prominent by now. The price of LPG is going up because, one, we've not been able to satisfy the supply of LPG into the market. And when there is a gap between supply and demand. Nigeria is still importing LPG cooking gas. So the imported portion of it forms about 65-50%.
Okay.
And now importation has to do with forex. These importers don't even have a dedicated window of forex from CBN.
Though the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timmy Silva, has said the commodity was deregulated. However, Nigerians are urging the government to reconsider the decision.
In business, dollar to Naira exchange rate on Tuesday, 31 August 2021, opened at 526 Naira per dollar at the parallel market as against 526 Naira per dollar on Monday, representing a 26.1% loss barely a month after the Central Bank of Nigeria stopped dollar allocation to 5,300 licensed Bureau de Change operators. The Naira had lost 17 Naira to close at 522 Naira per dollar at the parallel market a day after the CBN stopped dollar allocation to BDCs. Recall that exactly a month ago, all the bank chief executive officers held a press conference praising CBN for stopping sale of dollars to BDCs. They also said Naira would rise to 423 Naira per dollar, but pressure on the local currency on Wednesday means local banks are still unable to meet dollar demands. On the foreign scene, Morocco has expanded its COVID-19 vaccination campaign to children from Tuesday, with 12 to 17-year-olds now eligible to receive their shots. The North African country has administered about 33 million doses to adults, according to the World Health Organization, and is now focusing on its efforts to inoculating teenagers to ensure a safe return to schools. A total of 420 vaccination centers, including some schools, have opened across Morocco to vaccinate minors from August 31 to October 3. The vaccine is not mandatory, and parents are to decide if their children will receive the shots. In sports, Cristiano Ronaldo's Manchester United return was the standout highlight on deadline day on Tuesday as the English transfer window closed. His move from Juventus was teed up on Friday. Juventus has said then that Manchester United had agreed to pay $17.7 million for their former forward, with the deal potentially rising by a further $9.4 million. His arrival means Wales winger Daniel James headed from Manchester United to Leeds United 2.5 years after a move from Swansea broke down. Still on transfer stories, hundreds of millions of dollars have been spent as transfer markets in Europe closed Tuesday night. The biggest deadline transfer sees Antoine Griezmann return to his former club Atletico Madrid for Barcelona on a seasons-long loan. Trust TV's Mardia Umar speaks to football enthusiasts on the European transfer.
The summer transfer window is one of the exciting times for football enthusiasts all over the world, where clubs get to strengthen their squad for preparation for next season or to start for next season. The 2021 summer transfer window came with a lot of surprises, from Lionel Messi and its fanatic entrance to Paris, to Cristiano Ronaldo returned back home to Manchester United. There have been a lot of twists and turns. But what's the reactions of football enthusiasts in Nigeria to the summer transfer window? We're on the streets of Abuja to know what they feel about the transfer windows, the big signings, and what to expect.
Concerning transfer window generally, to all of us it was a shock that Lionel Messi had to leave. But we're still not in this because the club and Messi agreed to terms and conditions of him staying. But due to rules and La Liga financial decision that Messi had to leave. So, but it's still a good start for the club now to pick up from the beginning again. Now that Messi has left, so they will have new people to fill up that space. Surely Barca will be back to winning ways very soon.
But there are some transfer that you cannot help, but it hits you. You may not go about doing your research, but it's something you just hear. And the one that blew my mind is Messi to PSG. I never thought Messi would ever leave Barcelona. It's a shock. It's a shock. And another shock again to hear that Ronaldo is coming to Manchester United. As a Man U fan, I'm delighted. I love him. I love him. And of course, talking about Kylian Mbappe to Real Madrid, it would have been another shock, another wonderful transfer, but I will prefer him to be in that PSG. Let him contribute his quota. I want PSG to win this Champions League.
One other player again, although I've forgotten that one's name, from Atletico Madrid. Chelsea are also going for him, which I pray that Chelsea should also get him. If that will help him, because we don't want excuses. You know, we Chelsea fans don't have it. We don't entertain excuses. We want him, like he started delivering now, we want him to continue at that pace. You see, we are not like Arsenal. Arsenal used to have patience. Arteta is supposed to have gone already. You understand? If Chelsea should lose 3 matches in a row, I am telling you, Thomas Tuchel, despite the fact that he carried all these cups, he's going. So since he have identified the players he needed, we want that. We want the club to help him speedize that and then get the players for us. Christie, as we heard, has completed his medicals. He's coming to Man U. It's a welcome idea, so that by the time Chelsea beat them, they will not have any complaint, any excuse to give. Because let them bring, even if let them bring Messi too to Man U.
We're too comfortable with that, because I feel he's just coming to take the glory from United. And another point is he's old. So since he's going old like this, I don't think it's best for him to come to United.
Ronaldo can still play for the next 5 years, even though maybe his performance might drop, but he will still be a very key player in any club he goes to. So pounds players, 25 million pounds player, whereas the likes of Man City are spending a whole 100 million pounds on Grealish.
With the summer transfer window now closed across Europe, attention has now been turned on how clubs will now capitalize on the transfer made so far in strengthening and fortifying their team ahead of the season. Martia Omar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
It's a wrap on Trust TV News updates. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Dashan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.